And Prime Minister Andrew Holness spoke with TVJ's Dion Jackson Miller about a number of issues relating to the zones of special operations. That includes his expectations going forward.
Well, firstly, I'm expecting that the joint forces will have domain control of the area, that they will conduct operations according to training and according to expectations of the maintenance of law and order, the preservation of the rights of the citizens. But more importantly, my hope, my real wish, is that the security forces use this as an example as to how good policing can restore communities. So it's a strategy for the control of crime, but more so it is a strategy for building citizens' trust, because this is all about community building and peace building and peacekeeping. So the greater expectation is that the rest of Jamaica can look on with pride on their security forces conducting operations that are such that they maintain the rights of the citizens and builds the trust and cooperation of the public.
We heard the stats in terms of what's been happening in the Mount Salem area since 2014 in terms of murders. You said in a statement earlier this week urging patience that in a zone we should have no murders. Is that what you're expecting going forward in the Mount Salem area? That's
my aspiration, and it's the aspiration of all Jamaicans. I've set a very high bar, no homicides. It's quite possible, but it would require, of course, the zones being operational and the security forces being able to refine the strategies to eventually reach to that.
The murder stats showing nearly 25% up this year over last year. Is your credibility as Prime Minister now hinging on the success of ZOSO?
No, I don't think so. I think the public should be fairly satisfied that I am making great effort, that my team is making great effort. And I think the public understands the very delicate balancing act, because we have to satisfy many publics. We have to satisfy the public that is saying our security forces don't operate in a way where we can trust them, that the history, the evidence has been that there's been violation of human rights, and therefore they look on any measure that requires the police and the army to implement with a high level of suspicion. And then there is a public that says, I was listening to the radio yesterday and one gentleman comes on and he says, listen, we should suspend rights and just deal with what we have to deal with. And there is that widespread thought based upon the level of crime within the public that says, do what you have to do. And I've heard recent comments about the national security budget being cut. That is absolutely false. We have allocated significant resources, and we're talking now in the billions, to ensure that the zones are operational and that the allied services to the zones are provided, and in particular, the expenditure that will happen in terms of community building and community development effort.
Next year this time, tell me where we'll be.
Next year this time...
In terms of crime, in terms of murders, in terms of Mount Salem to start with.
Well, to start with Mount Salem, you certainly will see a different community, a transformed community, certainly in terms of crime, but more so in terms of the physical infrastructure and the sense of community. Nationally, we are expecting the trend to reverse in murders in particular, and the trend to continue generally in the reduction in crime.